Update. Am I the a-hole for not going to my parents' wedding before they get divorced again? Original post. So my 26 female parents, both 50, got married when I was 5 and I was the flower girl. When I was around 10, they got divorced, which no one saw coming because they never fought. I feel like I have to mention, my parents were both very wealthy and kept finances separate. And so it was an easy divorce and obviously they could pay for it. When I was about 17-ish, they decided to get back together. And me being 17 was overjoyed and was a bridesmaid at their second wedding. I really hope you see where this is going, but they ended up separating again. They didn't tell anyone and didn't get a divorce, but we all knew they were separated. And 3 years later, they wanted to renew their vows, in which I was asked to buy a nice dress for the occasion. Surprise, they got divorced again, and only after 3 months after their renewal. After that, I sort of just lived my own life because I wasn't exactly thrilled at whatever they were doing, and honestly really over it. So, a few days ago, I got an invite in the mail to my parents' 3rd or 4th wedding after 6 years, and so I called my mom about it. She was super excited and told me I was old enough to be her maid of honor and that she wants me to buy a $1,500 dress. That's a solid no for me. I told her I'd be her maid of honor, but I'm either going to wear the original bridesmaid dress, which is a cream color, or the other nice one I got, which is brown, because I'm not buying a $1,500 dress. She freaked out and told me that those don't match the color scheme, which is pink and green, and that she knows I can't afford it. Which is true, as I got an inheritance from my grandfather's passing. However, when my fiancé and I moved in together, he made clear he didn't want me to be paying for most things, and he wants to do it 50-50. So, we got a small apartment that he could afford to pay his share of, and all of my extra money is in savings/college fund because we want a large family of 5 to 7 kids, and they are, well, expensive. So I reminded my mom of that and told her that I also would like to use my money on other things that won't be worn once, and I'll have to buy a new one every 3 to 6 years. My mom called me a spoiled brat, and that I'm wasting my privilege, I have no words, and that I'm telling her I won't be part of my own parents' wedding. I told her that I was going to be willing to show up to the wedding and not be the maid of honor, but at this point, I'm not showing up at all, and told her to call me when they get their next divorce. I hung up and got a slew of nasty emails from my family throughout the day, and my friends are divided if I made a right call, with the premise that they are my parents. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole 100%. What the heck? Who marries and divorces the same person multiple times? You're completely in the right not wanting to spend that much money for a one-occasion dress, when they most likely will divorce again, and you're gonna need the money with so many kids planned. I'm starting to think it's because no one else wants to get with them. I don't suppose the thought of just living together without a marriage certificate has occurred to either of your parents. Oh, a couple of their friends have suggested it, but they want to prove their devotion to each other, or some BS like that. I'm pretty sure the divorce papers prove otherwise. Not the a-hole. If they're both well off, why can't they just buy the dress for you? It's their 4th wedding and she wants you as the maid of honor, so it makes sense for her to just get the dress for you. Asking the real questions here. I cannot imagine going to someone's 4th wedding after 2 divorces at a separation. And not even like they keep marrying the wrong person. The same couple. Yeesh. Not the a-hole. I'm sorry, but once it's the 3rd or 4th time to the same person, it's no longer a special event or moment. That's just a massive display of stupidity. It's totally reasonable that, if they are doing this every 5 years or so, to say that either they really should not be together, or that they really just want the attention. Though to me this situation reads as 2 people who are not compatible, but can't stand not having someone to give them attention. If she lets you go, I recommend a book on divorce as a wedding gift. I think they need it. Or maybe a book on self-love. And now for the update. Hi guys! First of all, thank you for all the attention, and some of your comments were absolutely hilarious. My fiancé and I had a field day going through all of them. A lot of people suggested just making my mom pay for the dress, but I was debating the suggestion of just being a guest, though a lot of you agreed with me to just not show up. I ended up calling my mom and was going to make a decision with however it went. She started off the conversation that she didn't need me to be part of the wedding party because her and my dad were having trouble having the best people, meaning no one will do it again, lol. So they were going to scratch that part of the wedding and it was all about them anyway. So I told them I was coming as a guest, and after, I made plans with my cousin to give me a lift, so I wasn't spending a single cent on going to their wedding. Now, my fiancé and I go over to their house for dinner once a month, so we went over there Saturday. As I mentioned before in a comment or two, my fiancé grew up financially insecure, and so I struggled with convincing him to do something nice for himself once in a while. I did, however, just convince him to spend part of our savings to do a really nice honeymoon in Greece since we are doing a small wedding. It took some pulling of teeth, but he now won't stop getting travel books and researching, and it makes me so happy to see him excited about this. It was a fairly pleasant dinner until my own wedding planning came up. I told him that we were pretty much set with the wedding, but we were having out details on Greece. My mom got visibly upset and excused herself, and my dad followed. I was pretty confused, but they came back and my dad calmly explained that my mom feels very hurt, that I'd be willing to spend thousands of dollars on my honeymoon, but wouldn't shell out money for their wedding. I was pretty dumbfounded and said, well, we are willing to have an expense on the honeymoon because we are only getting married once. So yeah, I got kicked out of the house and uninvited from the wedding. Not super torn up about it. And this is now my fiancé's favorite story to tell. Happy holidays, y'all! I seriously can't believe your mom is trying to overshadow your wedding with her fourth wedding, not even waiting for you to have your moment. Not only that, but her fourth wedding to the same person. These people have more money than they know what to do with. Sounds like the best outcome, honestly, and I'm still laughing about your mother being shocked that no one wants to give her the full treatment for her fifth or whatever wedding. I have an aunt who's been married something like 8 times. At the last 2, she just did a quick stand-up wedding in a garden type thing because it turns out that no one wants to shell out money or buy presents for your 5th wedding to yet another loser. 4th wedding to the same man, which is like 10 times worse. You already know it won't work the first 4 times. It honestly just looks like an attention/gift grab. Your parents are toxic and wild AF. I picture your fiancé just sipping tea while all this was going down. Your response to your mom's entitlement was perfection. Are they still invited to your wedding? That's currently what's up in the air. I'm leaning towards no, because I know they are going to do something to ruin it. Fiancé is on the side of, it's going to be perfect no matter what happens. He just really wants to call me his wife. Lol. So he thinks it would bring quality entertainment. So it's an attention thing, right? The parents like being the focus on the wedding day, and then the sympathy/energy that people put into managing the two of them after the divorce? Or maybe OP's right, and they can't stand each other but no one else will have them, and obviously they can't get back together without a full wedding. Even writing this, none of it makes sense to me. I would love to be one of their marriage/divorce lawyers. The lawyer may give discounts for repeat couples. Next story. Update. Am I the a-hole for not inviting them to my Christmas party after they didn't invite me to their wedding? Original post. I threw a pretty big Christmas party every year, going on a decade now. A few years ago, at one I threw, my friend Tara met my former coworker Tony and they hit it off. They dated for a while, and 2 years later, once again at my Christmas party, she showed up with a ring on her finger, and they announced for the first time that they were engaged. I was super happy for them. They got married this spring, and we didn't get invited. So, when I was sending around my party invitations this year, I didn't see any reason to invite them back if they didn't think I was worthy of making their guest list. I have known them both for years, basically introduced them, and they literally announced their engagement at my home. It got back to me today that they're very upset with us for not inviting them this year, that my party is something they consider special and they think I'm being petty. A couple friends even mentioned it was a smaller wedding, and they feel like I'm just punishing them. It wasn't though. There were probably 200 people there, and I knew at least 50 of them, and I was a little surprised at some of the names that made a cut over us. It didn't make us think about it or anything, but I don't see why I should welcome them into my home again after being snubbed like that. My partner thinks I should just let it go and invite them back, but I don't see a reason why I should. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not a-hole. You can invite and not invite whoever you want without any reason. And if they want one, say it is a smaller party this year. 100% this. If the event was so special to them, then they would associate it with you as well as a special friend, and would have invited you. It also feels so tacky to steal OP's Christmas party to announce their engagement like that. If they ask OP beforehand, then it would be different, but just showing up with the rings on? Not the a-hole. If they can't even invite the person who introduced them to their wedding, then I don't think they should expect an invitation to your Christmas party. If you're not close enough to make it to the wedding invite list, why should they be close enough to you to make it to your Christmas party? And someone who catered and hosted their engagement announcement party. Haha, you don't know the half of it. Over the last few years, we have literally had it catered, had bartenders inside and outside, even hired someone to entertain kids earlier in the night. My partner and I put so much time, energy, and money into this every year because we love our friends. It started out small when we were younger, and now it's this big thing. I just don't like being taken for granted. Yeah, this is all making a lot more sense now. You go out of your way every year to throw this huge party for everyone, and now they're upset they're the only ones that are missing out. Not like they cared, when all of your friends went to their wedding and you were the only ones missing out. Screw these people, you don't owe them anything. Yeah, I guess that about sums it up. Thank you. Not the a-hole. Also, don't think it's petty. We don't have to prioritize people who don't prioritize us. Thank you. I'm so tired of entitled people ignoring someone until that someone has something they want. They weren't good enough friends to be invited to the wedding, so that says a lot about the value they place on a friendship. And now for the update. Since I got so many requests to check back in, here's the update. 1. I stuck to my guns and did not invite them to my Christmas party. My partner stood by me when I told him I had made my decision and didn't bring it up again. Neither did our friends. 2. Many of you guessed that they would try and crash our party. I got worried that could happen after all the responses, but thankfully it didn't. Probably 100 plus of you guessed she wanted to hijack the party to announce she was pregnant. If that's the case, they haven't told anyone as far as I know. 3. They did, however, decide to try and throw their own party at the same time as ours. Several friends told us they were trying to convince them to come to theirs instead. I honestly hope they had some guests and had a great time. I wish them no ill will. But I think just about everyone we expected came to our party, so I doubt they poached any guests from us. 4. They made enough of a last-minute fuss over this, that the whole thing became the gossip of our party, which was their doing, not mine. I chose not to engage in it, but the consensus I heard was everyone thought it was bizarre they chose not to invite us to their wedding, and that them complaining about not being invited to our party was in poor taste. 5. Most common question on here was why did we not get an invite to their wedding? From what I can tell from the people at our party gossiping about the situation, they've said it was because we're a little bit older than they are. I think that's weird, since my partner and I are both 35 and they're 28/29, so it's not like we're very far apart. Tara used to hang out with us at least once a week when she was single, and I literally introduced them. The whole thing still seems strange to me, but I guess it is what it is. So yeah, that's how it all went down. Our party was a blast. We got to see so many friends, some of which we haven't really seen since before COVID. Everyone had a great time. People literally brought toddlers we hadn't gotten to meet yet because of how crazy the world has been over the last couple of years. It was a wonderful evening. I hope you all had as good of a Christmas as we did. Props for you for standing by your initial decision. They absolutely didn't deserve to be invited to your party, and I'm very glad you ended up having a great time. Also glad to read friends/guests of OP agreed that a couple were acting in poor taste. If I were at a Christmas party, I would have tagged the absent couple in some fun party photos on Instagram to remind them of what they missed out on due to their boorish behavior. It was a good idea. Last year, a similar incident happened to me with one of my neighbors. Then I could do it, although now everything is fine between us. Yeah, it has nothing to do with your age. You and your spouse throw this big party. People enjoy your hospitality and appreciate you. If you came to their wedding, you would have taken attention away from the bride. People would have talked about your parties, they would have socialized with you, and at the end of the day, the bride and groom were not mature enough to deal with that. This could very well be the reason. But some people are just users and not actually your friends. As a guy who hosts a lot of game nights at my house for all kinds of affairs, such as board games, card games, etc., usually with 4 to 12 people, it's become very clear to me that some people that come over my house to socialize don't actually consider me a friend. I'm at a venue. Once I get wind of this, they don't get invited again. It's also weird because I only invited them in the first place because I thought we already were friends. Some people just suck.